Hey y'all. Today the name of God that we are going to learn about is Jehovah Shammah or Yahweh Shammah. I prefer to use Yahweh, but Jehovah is more mainstream, and I'm gonna explain the differences to you, okay? Remember back on the first day, the first name of God that we learned about was Yahweh, right? And how the ancient Hebrew, they didn't use vowels. And because the name was too holy to pronounce wrong, the people didn't want to say his name wrong. And even when it was translated and they used vowels, they still were not, they'd never seen vowels before, so they still weren't sure that they were saying it properly. The vowels that they used came from the word Adonai, and they just, I don't know how, I don't know why, I don't understand Hebrew, so they got Yahweh out of that. The Yahweh. But in any event, they still were not sure that it was being pronounced correctly. So remember also on that first study that I said the ancient Hebrew was YHWH, and it was more of a sound. The German translation was, what was it? JHVH. So in the very early English translations, they used that German sound with the vowels from Adonai, and they came up with Jehovah. It is totally an English thing, okay? This was not used at all in the ancient Hebrew. But it was the name that they adopted as God's personal name because they knew how to pronounce it correctly. You know, they made it up, so they got to pronounce it any way they wanted to. There was no fear of mispronouncing it. So that's where Jehovah comes from, okay? But today I said that our name that we were going to learn about is, so you will hear more commonly Jehovah Shammah, but it just depends on what translation that you're going by. Yahweh Shammah, Jehovah Shammah, it means the same thing, okay? And that means the Lord is there. And the verse that I am referencing for that name is Ezekiel 48:35. Now, I want to be very clear that Yahweh Shammah is actually the name of a town. The Lord is there, okay? But if you read Ezekiel, you know that that was a vision, a future vision that Ezekiel was seeing. And it was all about the temple being rebuilt and the city of Jerusalem being rebuilt. And we know that when that happens, God will dwell there. He will be there among his people. So that's where we get Yahweh Shammah, the Lord is there, meaning that's one of his personal names because he's always there, right? You can go, golly, there are so many examples of that. Exodus 33:14 is one of them. My presence will go with you and I will give you peace. Isaiah 43:2, when you go through the sea, I am with you. When you go through the rivers, they will not sweep you away. When you walk through fire, you will not be burned, and the flames will not harm you. And it's referenced somewhere in the New Testament as well. I did not write that one down. I will find it and I'll put it in the comments, okay? But anyway, you are never alone. Yahweh Shammah is always there. You're never alone. Loneliness, I think, is a big thing that we face in today's culture and society. I think a lot of people have replaced social media with other people. They have replaced YouTube with going out and seeing people and talking to people, getting their opinions and their thoughts on different things. And I'm not saying that social media, the YouTube, I'm not saying any of those are bad things, but they're not other humans, you know? So a lot of mental exceptionalities that I see in my field of work, you know, I'm a teacher, especially depression, stems from a loneliness. Especially these students, they always feel like they're alone. And physically, a lot of times, unfortunately, they are, because their parents are working more than one job. And in this area that we live in, you know, a lot of the good paying jobs, you have to work overnight. So there are times when it is called for you to be alone, for you to physically alone, for you to reflect. But God dwells in you. The Holy Spirit, you are the temple of the Holy Spirit if you believe. It's impossible for you to be alone. God is always with you. Always, always, always. There are times I feel His presence more than others, but that's normal. You know, I think everybody deals with that. I wish I could feel like I'm just on fire and I can just tangibly reach out and touch His presence every second of every day, but that's just not what it is. So those times are very, very special when we feel His presence manifesting. You know, and there's not many people in the Bible that got that. So it is rare, but He's always right there. You are never ever alone. Yahweh Shammah, the Lord is there. Y'all have a good day.